Hi, I'm Tim Carter, AskTheBuilder.com. Exciting day at the job site. The lumber showed up. All right, it's going to get exciting really quickly. Keep in mind, this is not my job. If you see a mistake, I didn't do it. If you discover something new, you might want to click that thanks text link underneath the video and understand that every single dollar that I raise, I try to plow back into the channel so I can make more videos for you faster. Let's check out the lumber. A lot of really interesting stuff here. You're looking at some of the lumber that showed up today. This project is going to be a lot of engineered lumber. Okay, let's talk about some of it. These things right here, these are truss joists. Think of them as just the regular floor joist, like a regular 2x10 or 2x12. But instead, it's like an I-beam. It's got basically a laminated plywood bottom flange, and the same thing at the top flange, and then a piece of OSB that is the web of the beam. It's just like an I-beam. All right, now, so these are pretty good. We're going to talk about them in just a minute. They also got some parallels installed. These are massive beams. Look at the size of these beams. These things, this beam right here, this one beam, it could be 40 feet long. It is really long. And what is it? Check it out. It's basically just a giant piece of OSB. Kind of think of it that way. It's just a huge, huge piece of engineered lumber. And then finally, they're going to use some LVLs here, some micro lambs. That's what these are. And when you look at the ends of these, pretty simple. Think of it as just giant, thick pieces of plywood. Really interesting stuff. The subflooring was also delivered. It's Advantech, probably the industry standard right now. It's basically 3/4 of an inch thick, tongue and groove. Here's some of the grooves right here, tongues at the other end. And it's basically just an OSB, but they really improved it, and it's got a special sealant so that it doesn't expand when it gets wet. And they've got a bunch of regular 2x6s that they're going to be using for the walls. And, you know, here's some more of the Advantech right here. It's a good material, all right? I prefer AC fir plywood, but you know what? I'm old school. Here is a bundle of the truss joists, and they are very long. And I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. Let's go over here to the house and look. I'll show you right now. Those big, long truss joists, here's what's going to happen. The carpenters are going to build a wall here, the first thing they're going to do. And they're going to use the 2x6s that are in this bundle here, and they're going to use the zip wall sheathing. It's got the green plastic on it. I know you can't see that underneath the plastic there. And then what's going to happen is they're going to set some stanchion posts. See these gray? They look like electrical conduit, but it's not. These are steel pipes that are filled with basically mortar. So they're very stiff. And they're going to put those down the center of this basement. There's not a doubt in my mind. And one of those giant beams, one of that very, very long beam, is probably going to go on top of those stanchions. The only thing that troubles me is I don't remember seeing any type of footer pads underneath the this concrete slab. They may not feel it's necessary, because if you remember, this house was built on solid granite, and with the gravel fill that they put in underneath the slab, I mean, in reality, there's no way this slab's going down at all. So, but that's what you're going to see. So we're going to see a big, giant, long beam go this full length from here, from the mystery 6x6, all the way over to that wall. And that way, the floor above those giant, long truss joists, they will not be springy at all. They'll have a, you know, the span then will only be about 14 feet on either side of the beam. So that should work out really well. As you can see, a lot of fascinating lumber. And here's what you need to know about engineered lumber. It's it's basically a new product. In other words, if you just study the history of carpentry and building for the past 100, 150, even, I don't know, go back 250 years. So we started out with logs, all right? They just used logs. And then they started to saw the logs into dimensional lumber. And then the dimensional lumber got a little thinner, per se. And then we got plywood. And then after plywood, we got OSB. And now we have all of this engineered lumber. And you need to realize one thing. The strength of the engineered lumber depends on just one thing only. One thing. The glue. So you always have to wonder, did the people that make the glue that day, did they do their job right? When they were using it in the factory, did they put enough on? You don't have those problems when you use old-fashioned dimensional lumber, right? You don't have those issues, all right? So Mother Nature does a pretty good job of gluing things together herself. All right, so as the job progresses and we start to see where they use all those different components, I'll talk about it in a future video. But I think the job's going to get really exciting. Understand this, it's September 28th, and we're in central New Hampshire, and they need to really, really work quickly to get this house framed up and under roof and closed in before the snow starts to blow. We'll see what happens. And remember, if you discovered something new in the video, consider clicking that thanks text link and make a donation. And if you need any phone coaching about your jobs, have questions about things, I do phone coaching. The link for that is in the video description. I'm Tim Carter, AskTheBuilder.com.
If you want to discover more home improvement tips, go to AskTheBuilder.com.